We're on Daf Vav Amud Aleph. Let's take it from Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Boom, which is one line above where it says in the Torah or Shom Chav Daled, which is about a little bit more than halfway down the page and a little bit less than 2/3 of the way down the page. So further down. The second citation in Torah. One line above that. Okay, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Rebbe Kedaite. Rebbe follows his line of reasoning. The Rebbe Amar Vayisel L'Bana Mechza L'Bana Mechza. This was learned last week that a Kohen Gadol and a regular that comes in, he gets half of everything, right? Whatever he wants, he gets half of it. So half of a korban, half of a mincha. So he learns out. It says Aaron who bought up 50% to Aaron, 50% to his kids. That's how we learn it out. Mesa above Amelis above Mevas almost decent pligo doesn't the following mission Bryce argue. It says the Omer live male or Hare or rely meas ronos. Somebody says the one being 10 esronos, which are 100 esronos, 100 esronos are 100 measures of flour, Lavim b'shnei kelim, and he sets upon himself to bring them in two separate kelim. Maybe chamishim kliyach. He brings 50-50. Now that's not difficult. That's like Rebbe. What's not like Rebbe is the next statement. Maybe shishim b'kliyachod v'arboim b'kliyachod yotza. It says in the Brisa, there's all continuation of the Brisa, if you're being 61 kli and 40 the other kli is yotza. Wait a minute. If you when you say mechza means 50-50, shnei kelim it's 50-50, right? Half. So how come it's yotza 60-40? Shouldn't be yotza 60-40. What says Gemara in asking the question, Gemara, that was all the Brisa. Now the Gemara asks the question explicitly. Misha amar harei alai me'asrono stam. The law amar become a kelim who mevion. If somebody just said I'm bringing 100 and so many kelim, so I understand he can split it up any way he wants. But light and milo amar lovim b'shnei kelim. Why did he say 2 kelim? It must show you should have according to Rebbe that should teach us you have 50 kliyachah v'chamishim kliyachah. Should be 50-50, not 60-40. So says the Gemara of Vitani law. We learn concerning this, and maybe shishim kliyachah v'arboim kliyachah. The also it says you bring 60-40. You might say how could that be? According to Rebbe, should dafka be 50-50, not 60-40. 60-40 should be no good. So Rabbi is Rabbi Boone. We came and shishim mechoni boiled. Now this is a concept which you know by menachos, right? Up to 60 measures, the oil can get mixed in. You'll call it oil bilaim bilo ma'kevespo. Any amount which is suitable to get mixed in the oil, you don't actually have to mix. Well, that's up to 60. Anything above 60, it's too much already, too much flour for the oil to mix in. So therefore, even though you said shnei kelim, even quite a Rebbe, even though normally you mean 50% one kli, 50% the other kli, but here there's an implicit shiur of 60 every time you bring measures of flour. Because up to 60 measures of flour can get mixed in with the amount of oil brought for a mincha. So therefore, there's an additional legitimate division besides the 50-50 implicit in saying I want to bring 100 esronos and 2 kelim, which is 60-40, because of the upper limit of mixing in oil in the flour. Okay, that's what Esrevin says. Became a shishim only boil. They can mix. Kamisha kavalo shishim. It's as if you fixed 60 mishar from the time you decided you're going to volunteer these 100 measures. Lo tzurcha da ella. That's not a kasha, therefore. Rather, if you wanted to find a kasha, you'd have to find a brisa like this. What brisa would you have to find? Amar harei shishim esronos lavim b'shnei kelim. If a guy said, if you find a brisa that says the following, you have a good kasha. If you find a brisa that says a guy says he wants to bring 60 in 2 kelim, maybe shloshim kliyachah v'shloshim kliyachah. So we would expect they would be divided up 30-30 according to Rebbe. If you find a brisa which says maybe arboim kliyachah v'esrim kliyachah yotza, that's a good kasha. Because then, of course, there's no inherent built-in limit of 40-20, right? It should be 30-30 or 60 and nothing, right? So so if you find such a brisa, that's good kasha. So Ashkachtani came. So he got to Ashkech Tanik and he went down and found such a brisa. Oh, and now we're off Tzoris, right? Because now it's a brisa which is a kasha to us. It's kasha Rebbe. We see that you can have a division other than 50-50, right? So it says Gemara, have a way out. It says Gemara, Tani Rabbi Chanina Chanani Chavrin Rabbanan said, boy, he said like this in answering the question. He said, L'meidi midas adim midas mitzorot. It's no kasha, because here we're talking about dividing up choshen mishpatik. We're talking about how to divide up ownership, how to divide up in matter of shutfus. That's one type of division. Like Kohen Gadol comes and wants to divide with Kohanim. So that's a choshen mishpat issue. Then we say, stam, it's 50-50, right? You're bringing me a riot from how to divide up the flour of a mincha. There's nothing to do with choshen mishpat. It's a completely different type of halacha. So it says you can't ask a question from one to the other. L'meid and midat tzadini want to learn choshen mishpat halachas of division meisaron from how you divide up flour. Come on, give me a break. You have to find a brisa which actually says that we compare the two in order to ask me a kasha. It says, well, yeah, okay. Ashkechtani v'lama midas adim midas leisaron. We found such a brisa which learns that how to divide a choshen mishpat from the concept of isaron. That could be a lopsided division. So Gemara doesn't answer. Gemara leaves it difficult. No answer to that question. Rabbi Avun said, "Buvach lo yavim b'shnei kelim." Now, Rabbi Avun says, just like we learned from Midas Hadin, from Midas Hisaron, right? We learned that it's possible to have a lopsided division. The opposite is true as well, which is that when you divide up, you shouldn't be more than 2 kelim, right? It shouldn't be in 3 kelim. Why? Because wherever you say divide something up, so you divide something up in 2, unless specified. So if I say let's divide, so the division has to be maximum. We're talking about flour, right? So I say I want to bring a divided mincha. So divided stam means 2 kelim, not 3, unless I specify the 3. Just like where I say divided choshen mishpat, it means divide in half. So to divide in menachos means divide in half. Now again, it'd be a lopsided measure, 40-20, but only 2 kelim, not 3 kelim. Okay? Right? But melamar afilu b'kama kelim, no, even in several vessels. Rabbi, period. Rabbi Yisrael Rabun b'shem Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, "B'chol yom kohen gadol mislavish b'kelov." Every day, the kohen gadol used to get dressed in his 8 garments. Uva makriv tamid shel shachar, and he comes and he sacrifices tamid shel shachar. If he wants, obviously. Im yeshlam nedarim nedavos, they're optional karbanos. Uva krivan, you can also sacrifice them. V'holech b'soch. Now here, the Sharei Torah Seretz Yisrael transposes the word beso here with the lishkas barhedrin in the next line, which makes sense. V'holech b'soch lishkas barhedrin, and then he goes into his office in the Beis HaMikdash, and that's where he eats the karbanos. Because normally the Kohanim, if they had a public restaurant, cafeteria for eating karbanos, it doesn't pass for the Kohen Gadol to eat in public with the other Kohanim, so he would go to his personal dining room, the executive dining room. So he would go to Lishkas Barhedrin to eat. That if he wants, again, he can go to sacrifice Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim. And again, the Shai Torah shows, I said, transpose the words, Beso. Then he goes home at night and goes to sleep there. Of course, there's other days a year other than the 7 days for Yom Kippur. Ravuka B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel Levi said, the Kohen Gadol only would do this on Shabbos and Yom Tov, which is very strange. Why only on Shabbos and Yom Tov? So Shai Torah throws Baruch Hashem from the Maskilim. Shai Torah Yisrael read, said that Josephus brings down that after Herod, who was the king after Herod? No, that's what I thought. His son. His son was Archelaus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly. Anyway, the Romans didn't like Archelaus. So they send him to exile in France, Gaul, and that's where the Romans took over as, the, what are they called? The pilots? What were they called? The Pontius Pilate, Governors, right. So the governors took over, and that Agrippas was like a vassal king. He wasn't a real king. So it wasn't like Herod and Archelaus. It was, and I think it was later on also. So in any event, so he said, and he brings out that at that time, when the Romans took over, they built, as you know, a big fortress next to the Beis HaMikdash, and they used to keep the garments of the Kohen Gadol locked up all week. And they'd only issue the Kohen Gadol, which is an interesting question about the tzitz, of course, because the tzitz is only, it's only mechaper when it's on his forehead, we'll see momentarily. So they would only release the garments of Kohen Gadol to him on Shabbos. So that's actually what this Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is talking about here. He's not arguing. Once upon a time, in the good old days, the Kohen Gadol would come any day of the week and serve. But once the Romans took over, so then he could only come on Shabbos. Or Yotiv take over, because that's the only time the Romans would release the garments of Kohen Gadol for him to wear and do the Avodah. Okay? So, and from there they took the garments to the Vatican, of course. So, Istani Tani, there are those who say, Hatzitz Maratza Mitzcho, Tzitz Maratza only when it's on his forehead. Istani Tani, it was obviously even it's in the corner. Which of course makes immediate sense after the previous Gemara, because the whole week he didn't have access to his garments, right? He says the matzah only if it's on his forehead. It says mitzvah to me, it's going to be his forehead all the time. He says I feel it's obviously even if it's a coordinates matzah, Dod Yom Kippurim, because Yom Kippur he didn't have it on his forehead. The Mandamar says the teacher's matzah. The next two words are type, which should be al mitzcho. That's only when it's on his forehead. Messiah, Rabbi Yossi Barabun. It's a riot for Rabbi Yossi Barabun, who said that the Kohen Gadol could come any day and put on his garments. Madam Arfilu Zavis says even when it's in the corner. Messiah Rabbi Yukvo said the Kohen Gadol would only come on Shabbos, meaning the rest of the day. Again, according to Josephus, he didn't have access. So that's why they had to come up with this chiddush that it teaches matzah even if he's not wearing it. Okay? Now, on we go. Masulo Zakanim. So they gave him elders of the elders of Basin, Ziknei Basin. Koil upon him because Beseid Rayot. So they read in front of him in the order of the day. Even though they say, Isha Kohen Gadol, my master Kohen Gadol, Chloat Picha. You read with your own mouth. Shema Shachachto, maybe you forgot. Maybe you didn't learn what the proper halachos were. Erev Yom Kippurim Shachris, and in the morning, Ma'abidim also b'shar mizrach. They used to put him in the east gate. Ma'avin upon a pouring be'elim, the fussing. They used to pass by them the bulls, the rams, and the lambs. One kev is one. Korban is missing here. Do you know which one is missing? Actually, Bobby did not ask this. You know which one is not mentioned here? Shibur mentioned. Those are Kavasi. No. What? Birds are Yom Kippur. The serum, the goats are mentioned, right? Was going to answer. Very good. Maybe you forgot, maybe you didn't learn. Locate down, did we learn? HaKohen HaGodol Me'echov of the great Kohen? We should take Lulas Me'echov, it should be greater than its brothers. Asher Yutzah Rosh Hashem Mishla, that he should be anointed. Rabbi Omer, we learned that he has to be greater. Benoy in his visage, in his handsomeness, Bekoch in his strength. Bosher riches, but Chochma in his wisdom, V'mara, where he looked as well. So in any event, so how can you say the Kohen Gadol for good to have never learned? Rabbi Yisrabun, Kambarishon, Kambashini, the Beis HaMikdash Rishon, they were like the Beis HaMikdash. They're fat slobs, wherever matched the by the kahuna. Okay? Ma'amina also Shara Mizrach. Where would they put him in the Shara Mizrach? Mi bifnim or mi bachutz? Was it on the inside? Wasn't in the outside? Because it says Shara, right? Gate could be inside, gate could be outside. Which one was it? Now I'm going to learn this like I thought to learn it, but then I saw the Shari Torah started to show learned it like I wanted to learn it. But I'm taking credit for it. if you're going to say he stood inside, Kai Nino, so I have a problem with this price of this word Kai, should be in king, not key, but rather in king. In that case, we have a problem. The Tina says, well, not a problem, but if so, we have to reinterpret the Tina, the mission which we learned, comment over there. We have 5 fields in now when the Kohen goes to do the avodah. And one of them, the person doesn't go into avodah in Azora, even if he's Torah, actually ate toivel until he goes to the mikveh. So the first field of the day we know was done just because he's going to Azora. Yeah, but wait a minute. If Erev Yom Kippur they put him inside the Shara Azora, right? To watch these korbanos go by. So that means he was ready tar. He went the night should be a half-sake. No, because what would the Kohen Gadol do that next night? Between Erev Yom Kippur and Yom Kippur? He'd be awake all night. Right? So the night shouldn't be a hefsek. So he really doesn't need an extra tefillah to go into Azor Yom Kippur morning. If he went to sleep the night of Yom Kippur, that would be one thing, but he doesn't. He stays up all night. So say, so that 5th tefillah, the morning of Yom Kippur, is really unnecessary. It's like a low plug. You're right, we don't need it, but we do it anyway. Right? So then we have to say, we have to say, have say it's not really 5 because of Yom Kippur, because the 1 would have been Yom Yes, 4 was because of Yom Kippur. You're going to say an Erev Yom Kippur. He stood outside and watched this procession, right? He didn't go actually to the shar. So then Kulam Machmas Yom Kippur, and then even the 5th tefillah on Yom Kippur was necessary because of Bo Bayom. Because the day before Yom Kippur, he didn't go into the Azor at all, right? Just watch from the outside. Hey, Loma Loma, I say, why don't you mention the goat? It says later on that in order to do the azos in the inside, you have to mix together the blood of the pie and the blood of the soyer. So you're going to remember the goats. In other words, once you tell you about the goat, the bull, you remember that the goat has to get done because you can't do the bull before you saw the goat. So therefore, instead of bothering, we wouldn't bring with the goats. We just left them for the next day. However, there is a Mishnah, in fact, or a Brisa, which amends our Mishnah and says that, in fact, they used to take the sawyer or the shiurim in front of the Kohen Gadol. Kol Shivas all 7 days, lo yimonu mimenu machal Mishnah. They did not deprive him of food and drink. Erev Yom Kippur and Chashech Erev Yom Kippur, as night fell, lo yiminich mosolo chohar, but they wouldn't eat their meat. They wouldn't let him eat very much. Shamachal maybe is Hashem, because eating brings sleep. Tani, we also learned that it's not just sleep we're afraid of, we're also afraid, of course, of carry. Tani lo yiminich mosolo, didn't let him luchal eat, lo cholav, not milk, lo beitzim, nor eggs. Lo vina, nor cheese, lo basar shame, nor fatty meat, lo yain yosher, nor old wine, lo kudito, wine which is spice, lo risen shapul, not legumes, lo adashim, not lentils. Shumamar v'lo kol esrog, nor do we give him an esrog, a lemon, or a citron. V'lo kol davar shumar g'deiziv, anything which brings the person to become a zav. Aval b'chein, nevertheless, so you can't leave them though they made all these stuff. What?
What's left?
Chicken. Nevertheless, they used to read upon him this pasuk. Right? If Hashem doesn't build a house, all our efforts are for naught. In other words, we need siyata d'shmaya. It says more, siyata d'shmaya is siyata d'shmaya. What you need to ask for it is there was a nace that no Kohen Gadol ever saw carrying Yom Kippur. It says the Gemara Rabbi Yavin al Shem Lo Tenasum. So his interpretation is we're never Saimchan Nes. We don't rely on the name, so therefore we make Ishtalus and we daven. Rabbi Yisrael no Kam Rishon Kam Sheni. First base meat there's no carry. Sheni, carry galore, right? Because they're all so many tztokim. So therefore they're not going to have such big nisim. So in fact we had back then that hey we had a Kohen Gadol according to Yerushalmi came Baal carrying Yom Kippur. Okay. So it happened.
In Bias training, did they adhere to this diet?
I don't know. Did Stoking? I don't know. Maybe. It'll be interesting. You'll see after the next Mishnah. Might we have the Bavli, but here it happens in more detail. Masul Zikne based it. The Zikne Kuna. So the elders based came the elders of Kuna. Alichul Ali is based on Tinas. They took them to the second floor based off Tinas. Ishbiu. They made him take an oath. And they left him. They said to him, Ishi Kohen Gadol, my master Kohen Gadol, Anu Shluchei Beistin. We are emissaries of the court. Vat Shluchein, you are our emissary. Shluch Beistin and the Shluch Beistin as well. Mashpi Anu Alech, we make you take an oath. In he whose name is imposed on this house. So the Shara Dovmi Kol Mashaman, you shouldn't change anything we tell to. Who Kol Mashaman Aloch? Who Parish Shaboche? He goes aside and cries. Main Parish Shaboche, and they go aside and cry as well. Says Mar Agabi Sharamayim. This is outside the base of Mitush, is on top of the Sharamayim, the outside the Azora. The son Lishka is next to his Lishka. Who Parish Shaboche? He goes and he cries Shenechshan because they suspected him. They portion of Bochin, and they go and they cry, but it should tell that they have to go through this process. The law must be so why do they make a shua? In there Beitusim because of the Sadducees, the Beitusim. Shlomi said Yaakov should make the smoke of the incense come up when you're still outside the Kodesh Kodashim, and then go inside. As opposed to us, we only go inside and for them make the smoke come out. Maitzah Shbechel, a Maitzah and Stoki. He put the Torah on the coals outside. The Chassidim went in holding the coals, making a cloud. It says Kshiyotza, when he came out, Amar Loavi, he said to his father, even though you used to darshan out your entire lives, to do it like we Stokim say, Lo Asisa, he never did it. So eat until I got up to also. Cook me a yashakayach. Right? I did a Stoky thing. Amr Lo, so he said, Alpha Bishayna Darshim, so his father said a fascinating thing. The Bible says he was afraid. Said that the father said, we're afraid of the Prussian. Right? We're afraid of them. Now here it says differently. He says, Alpha Bishayna Darshim Koyamenu, Avakirtzon Chachomim Ha'inu Osi. See, was haste that Stoky from the time of the Beis HaMikdash? Even at Stoky, imagine Ismar Sorch saying, even though conservative, I follow the Orthodox halacha, right? So that's what the equivalent of this. Even though they were at Stoky, they followed the Orthodox set of halachos when it came to actually doing the Beis HaMikdash. So in fact, that Stoky never, it's a fascinating thing, that Stoky had their belief system, but they never asserted their power. They followed it from halacha, okay? So needless to say, to me, Aniyim Yarchos, so Yerushalmi, I'd be astounded if you would live a long life, loyal in this world. Amrusa, they said, Lo bo yom yikayim ha'shmeis, a very short time he died. V'yeshvin, some say, Yotz, immediately when he came out of the Kodesh Kodashim, Chotmo mizanik toloy, the worms were shooting out of his nose. And Kavin prices Egel Holomitoch Mitro, and he had like a calf's footprint, like the Lahavdil, the Goyim say the devil, I think, has cloven hooves. So the Malach has cloven hooves. So the Malach had smote him down, and the imprint was left in his forehead. Eats the boy Maimar. Now, this is amazing historical business here that the Yerushalmi has. So I'm saying, it's the same Tzedoki, that same rotten Tzedoki, he did the Paraduma wrong. Because Paraduma, the Tzedokim say it has to be done with somebody who had Harev Shemesh. We hold the Tvu Yom can do the Paraduma. They hold it can't be a Tvu Yom. So the same rotten Stoki did the Paraduma only after he had Harev Shemesh, only after the sun went down, the next day obviously. And the same guy who the Sukkah, it says once they didn't like Nusach HaMayim, the one Tzedokah Cohen once poured the water on his feet. And what happened to him? What did they do to him? Stone him with their esrogim, right? So who's the Yom Kippurim? It's the same guy who done Yom Kippur did the Kazah troublemaker, right? First he made trouble on Parah Aduma, then Sukkah, then Yom Kippur. Amazing. I've seen Lomar Kane. He said it can't be because there are two different records of how he died. Either died because of Kachim or they died because they stoned him, right? Either part of Sukkah is either the same guy's part of Sukkah, the Chad, he's one guy, the Kippurim Chad, Yom Kippur is another guy, or the part of the Kippurim Chad. Or Parah Aduma and Kippurim are one, the Sukkah Chad, because they're two descriptions of death. However, according to the interpretation that he didn't die immediately when he called but he lingered for a while, plus in Avad, he can be all three. So in other words, first he did the Parah, then he did the Yom Kippur, then he lingered till Sukkah, so he did something else wrong, and then they stoned him. Okay? Now this is a fast, I'm sorry, not finished yet. Reading part of this regal, in other words, you die immediately. Commander are either part of Sukkah Chad or Kippurim Chad. That's the man more either that Purim Sukkah one and Kippurim is another one, or the Kippurim Chad, Kippurim one, the Sukkah Chad, and Sukkah is another one. Now the next line is very strange. I don't really belong here. Tov Chalein Azara Tsumi Kabnei Eli Timesim Beis Elokeinu. This really it's a vacha. It's really a fragment of the Gemara Pesach. The Gemara Pesach says that 4 times Azara shouted. One was the days of Eli, one was by the Tzedokah, and the other was by forget Beis Avtinas. The guys didn't want to teach their skill, the crafts, right? So the Azara was Toveach. Several times Azara cried out in pain, right? So here we just bring down one of them. That when the Bnei Eli would still take the korban, would delay the korbanos of the women who came to bring their korbanos, they go back to their husbands, so that Azara itself kicked him out. But the reason why we're referring this here is because also by this case of the Tzedokah, so the Azara itself shouted, "Please leave, we don't want you here."
In Yuma we had Bnei Eli also.
Yeah, we had all 4 there. I think we had all. I think it's also brought down Yuma and all the cases where it's all Chazor brought down. Could be because I think we did have that.
We did have it, but I don't think it was in this context.
Not in this context? Okay, I don't remember that. Okay, but we certainly did have it recently. Maybe just
those craftsmen, the Ketela.
Was that in Yuma or Pesachim?
They didn't want to teach.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was in Pesachim though, like he says in Torah. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's in Yuma. Right? That's what I remember we had.
If I remember, we just had it
It's had a
recently.
Yuma. Okay. That day, when they threw that srogim, so the horn of the altar was pasul because it got dent in it. And also of gushamalch, and they put a block of salt there. Shaloya near kipogim doesn't help. The mizbech is still possible, but it shouldn't look bad. Shkom mizbech shein lo keren v'soiv mizbech shein lo keren v'soiv doesn't have horns. It doesn't have the sovev, the track around halfway. You saw it as a foundation puzzle, it is improper. They asked for Rabbi Avo. It's an amazing theological question.
We had it because they didn't let the wives go back to their. They were machtias.
Right, that's what it's referring to here too. But we had a greater expansion there for all the other times. That's what I was shouting. But I don't remember. Okay, we have such Bekim and Bavli here. You guys are amazing, but I don't remember exactly the details. I'm not such a big bucky like you. Alright, in any event, Bo Kubi Rabbi Avo. It's an amazing question Yerushalmi is asking. You got to give Yerushalmi credit for this one. How can a Malach kill him? The Malach wasn't around, the Kodesh Kodashim. Bo Kubi Rabbi Avo, Ksiv Chodam, Lo Yepo Omoi, Bevo L'Chaper V'Kodesh Atzeistam. Nobody's allowed to be in the Kodesh until he comes out. Right?
Yeah, but he brought Tuma into the Kodesh.
So Gemara is going to answer. I feel it's in Shekosaba, and even though those who about which it says, Dmus Pnei Pnei Odam, that they have the visage of a human being. Well, yeah, but now it'll be Omoid, so Malcolm can kill him. Amar Lo, so he said, B'shosh Nichnas Gedarko. When did the Malachim come in? When he comes in properly, even the Malachim are afraid of the Kohen Gadol. But he came in like a jerk, so therefore they killed him. Okay, now we're going to go to Darshan the Pesukim, the way we do, the way that Stokim do. See if it says, Ve'ivimi Beis LaParochas, you should bring the shovel beyond the Parochas, when the Sanas of Torah Salish leave Hashem. And there put the Ketores on the fire before God. You shouldn't fix it outside V'yachnis, B'ifnim, and bring it on the inside. As opposed to Arei Stoikim, the Stoikim do say Yisakim V'achutz, fix on the outside V'yachnis B'ifnim, and then bring it V'yachnis and bring it in. So says more, why did Stoikim say this? They say, Ifnei Bosser V'don, Osim Kain, before a human being, you don't prepare the incense in the chamber. You prepare the incense before you enter the chamber, right? So certainly before Kodesh Baruch Hu, you also should prepare the incense before you enter the chamber, right? So in case Lomet recites it says Ki Banon Erel HaKaporos. In the cloud I shall be seen on the kapora, so it sounds like on the it's just, the way they're dashing it. When the Kohen Gadol goes in, he should be seen with the Anon already around him, right? Armalam Chachami, or rather, Armalam Chachami said, no, but look for an Emrah, what can I do? Right? It says, put the Ketores on the fire before God. Ain't no sin, it'll be Fnim, do it on the inside. Okay, Loman Amar Kibonan Kapor, it sounds like the Onan is already there. Malamish Nosabo Malash tells you different halach. You have to put in a special ingredient which makes it make a lot of smoke. Now we know that you have to do that. The smoke of the Ketores has got to fill, cover the Kapores, the entire Kapores. Asherla Rome Bloimus, no, it has to create very thick smoke. But if you didn't put in that smoke-causing ingredient, now you left out one of the other ingredients of the Ketores, you're liable to death b'nei right. And says the Gemara so far, so strictly in this, it says that you shouldn't die. I raise the ownership, that's the punishment. Because I will be seen in my cloud on the Kapores. I raise Hazor, there's a warning not to not to do the Avodah without bringing in the Ketores. I'm Rabbi Les Rabbi Shimon. Yochel Onesh V'Hazor Shenemru Kohen L'Misim Le'Aaron. Very interesting question. But of course, Nadav and Avihu were killed for being a Ketores Zorah. Were they warned? Was this warning already pre-existing their episode or not? Says the Gemara, no, it says after the death of the two kids of Aaron. If it's after the death of the two sons of Aaron, it's possible that both the Onesh and Azor, the punishment and the warning were both given only after the death of Bnei Aaron. Says the Gemara, no. It says with the Onan I will be seen on the Kapores. Now it sounds in this that
one second, I forgot what the raya is from this.
This is in Parsha Shmini. This is Parsha Achrei Mos, so I forget what he's trying to prove this.
I forget what he's trying to prove. Maybe he's not quoting the correct part of the pasuk.
I don't know. Look at Pnei Moshe. I don't think that's the case.
Where is it?
The first two psukim, first 10 psukim. Keep it on
Says
there.
keep
Help
it.
us.
Of course, you should have said Yerushalmi. So this is prior. Pnei Moshe says, because it says it should have said in past tense if it was after. But since it was after the death, it should have said it in past tense. Since it says it in future tense, it means it's before the death of the two sons.
Do you understand what you're saying?
Yes.
Now explain it again.
It says Kiba non era which means in the future that God will be seen, which implies that the Kohanim will do the avoda at the time that God will be seen in the Kaporas. So this is said before the two sons had died.
No, but it's not.
Even though earlier it says Achrei Mos.
Yeah, because even though it's cited, but it doesn't. This was actually said before they were.
What's the proof that it was?
Because it should have said in past tense. It should have said near AC.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's a good clap. That's not what the Pnei Moshe
That's
says.
Pnei Moshe.
Yeah, I forgot. The Pnei Moshe say that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu already zapped him, so he was already seen in the Yonan on the so it must be, this is a mukta mucha b'Torah. That even though it says Achrei Moshe ben Aaron, but it's a quote of something HaKadosh Baruch Hu must have said earlier. He said, Kibanan el kaporas. And when did that happen? When he killed Nadav and Avihu. So actually, even though it's stated afterwards, chronologically it occurred before, because otherwise it would have said, Kibanon neiresi, be careful, don't get zapped, remember what happened to them. So it must have been that he was telling them beforehand. So the Asara came beforehand. Very good.
There's another proof about the Asara. Right after they had died, doesn't Aaron say who got the exact words? This is what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, but not about this. Not about the.
As soon as they were.
No. But he says about not to drink wine. That's all. Nothing. Shesui yain. Not about the curse per se. Okay. So. Okay, so the warning was given before the death of the two sons of Aaron, but the onish and the punishment was given afterwards. On Rabbi Zer, Kiba Nani Reisi and Ksivkad, this is an explanation. It doesn't say Kiba Nani Reisi Ela Ereh. You can't say Kosh Baruch Eina Kosh Baruch Onesh Elinkin is here, but he tells you ahead of time before he does something. If not, Darshan upon it. I mean, Chachamim darshan in front of the Kohen Gadol. In Ragil Likros, if he's accustomed to read, Korah he reads. If not Korah in front of him, you read in front of him. What do you read in front of him? Be'il, Be'ezra, B'divrei Yomim. These are interesting parts of Tanakh. Schayim and Kvuto Mer Poim Harbe Kuritz upon B'Daniel. Many times they're read in Daniel. Now, Tani, we learned that you read B'Mishlei V'Tilim Nation Tam and Maybe because Hashena. Now, according to the way all the interpretations explain this, because their understanding, their midrashim, take away sleep. In other words, when one learns Mishnah and Tilim in depth, so people don't fall asleep. Now, my experience is the exact opposite. Mishnah and Tilim are a couple of the somewhat tedious books of the Tanakh to learn. So I think things like this. I think it's kipshuto. If you, as I mentioned in my our Tanakh class, and I haven't mentioned here, maybe you're aware of that. The Svarim of Eov, Mishlei, Tehillim have unique trup. So unique that I think it's a lost art. I don't think anybody knows how to do it anymore. But if you look at the trup, it's not the same trup as the rest of Tanakh. So I think actually what it means is that their timing, their trup, is so different. That it's so quirky that somebody who hears it keeps them awake. I don't know because it's annoying or because it's unique, but somehow or another that keeps them awake. I think that's the shot. Okay. Kanashal Rav. Kanashal asked Rav, very strange word. Matni's name. We actually learn our Mishnah. Is it kvutor or kvuto? It says chayim and kvuto. What was the last name? Was it kvuto with a lamed or kvuto with a resh? So I have a kohen matzi, so he was davening. Rav was davening. V'chavi lei betzboi, so he pointed with his finger tzipor. Nobody else interpreted it this way, but I think it's partial. He pointed at a bird, just like a tzipor ends with the resh, kivutar. So do kvartar ends with the resh as well. Okay, other people say what like this, but tzipor. I'm sure it means a bird. Peter just nominated. What if, despite our best efforts, Kohen Gadol wants to fall asleep? So Pirchei Kuna Makis for the expert trader, they go like this. Kohen Gadol, they say, my master Kohen Gadol, Amod stand, Vafeik Achas, so reach one and put one foot to get cold on the ground, on the floor, and we deal with him in this manner until the time Shechita comes. Avunamar the expert trader, Peh. That's what they used to do. Okay? Huh?
I didn't know you could do that.
I can be a Kohen, right?
Years of day school.
What?
Years of day school.
No. It took me a long time to perfect that one after day school. So, as easily Rav Yochanan, I'm sorry, Rav Unamar be'etzah trader b'peh, Rav Yochanan be'etzah trader b'yad with your hand. Masisa b'li Rav Yochanan. So it seems in the following price orders, Rabbi Yochanan says bepeh. It says that they used to deal with him bepeh, with the mouth, right? Lo b'nevel, v'lo b'chinor, not with a harp and not with a I don't know which is a harp or which is a lyre, whatever they are. So name it. So you see, it was by mouth, not by finger. So he said, no, it's the iman emes betzah trader. He used to sing songs as though, whatever songs go with the snapping of the hands. So that's what he used to do. Songs which would go with hand snapping. Omer b'peh, those songs they would say on Yom Kippur, lo b'peh, lo b'ev, lo b'china, they would do a cappella. Right? They wouldn't actually do with the musical instruments. B'choyim terms of his back, every day you do Trumas Hadeshin. We cross again from the time the rooster crowed, or summer clothes, or and juxtaposed there too. Lefana v'lachra, before or after Yom Kippur and Yom Kippur mechatzos, regalim me'ashmogas, and regalim from 10 o'clock at night from the end of the first Hashmoyra. Me'ashmos harishona. Loisa cross again magas, and normally on Yom Tif the rooster would not crow. Actually saw Azarim Le'em Yisrael. Until the entire Azar was full of Jews, they used to come early to Karbanos. Lo mistabra do ela Yom Kippurim b'Shmor Rishona u'regalim b'chatzos. Reverse the Mishnah. On Yom Kippur they used to do it from Shmor Rishona, and Yom Kippur they used to do the Trumas Hadeshin at 10 o'clock p.m. And regalim in time this doing chatzos. Why should look to Yovel date Simon so they shouldn't get thirsty? Now, three interpretations of that. Karmeida says that it was very hot on the Mizbeach, right? So people get thirsty. So therefore they did the Trumas Hadeshin early. They closed down yesterday's operation because what would they do in Yom Kippur? They would be fats in the previous day. They'd be stirring on the Mizbeach. It's only actually if Yom Kippur comes after Shabbos, because otherwise you're not allowed to do that. But let's say Yom Kippur came after Shabbos. So they'd be stirring the fats and stuff which is on the Mizbeach, right? Already in the Mizbeach. So they do that, they get very thirsty, so therefore they quit doing that at 10 o'clock. And that's the Trumas Hadeshin, 10 o'clock at night. That's the Karmene's Pshat. The Bnei Moshe and Ribah say, it's the exact opposite. It's going back on the Mishnah. On the Mishnah, on Yont, thirst meaning. Oh, wait a second.
You have to take a drink.
No. On Yontif they would do it early because there was no water in the Azor for them to drink. On Yom Kippur anyway they can't drink. But in Yontif there was no water in the Azor, so therefore they would do it 10 o'clock so they wouldn't be stuck in the middle of the night without any water to drink. That's what the Pnei Moshe says. And the Ridbaz says on Yom Kippur they would do the avodah later. No, on Yom Kippur also they do it earlier. The reason I do it earlier is because they do it after the food was digested. So on Yom Tov, the Yom Tov they ate later, so they would only do the avodah later, because on Yom Tov the night before they ate a late meal, so therefore they would do the Trumas Hadeshin later. But on Yom Kippur they ate before the Yom Kippur started, so therefore they could do the avodah of the Trumas Hadeshin earlier. So again, according to all of them, on Yom Kippur they do it at 10 o'clock. They would do it at 10 o'clock in order to prevent getting overheated by the fire of the Mizbeach. And then Moshe would do it at 10 o'clock in order because the no, according to Moshe, do it at 10 o'clock dafka on Yom Tov. On Yom Tov.
The later the hour with the Mizbeach being cooler.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, not as only if you quit early. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Pnei Moshe says on Yom Tov you do it later. On Yom Kippur you do it earlier because on Yom Kippur you will get thirstier. So therefore it's better to quit early. That's what he says. And you have to do it later because Adarabah, you'll drink in the morning. So if you start at midnight, so after Avodah is over, you'll be able to go drink, right? But on Yom Kippur you won't be able to drink anyway, so just get thirsty if you do it in the middle of the night. So therefore do it before, and then you can go to sleep and sleep off some of your thirst. And according to Ridbaz, what it means is that do it after already your food is digested in your stomach. So by Yom Tov you do it later, so the food would digest because you ate a late supper, but by Yom Kippur you do it earlier because already there's enough time for the food to digest since you ate before nightfall. Okay, saying like that. Now it says Mar Rabiel and Trumas Hadeshin. If Yom says Trumas Hadeshin was Tchilas Avodah Shemachar, was beginning next to the Avodah. The Torah Kaddish Yotah Varaklim in a Kiyor Meshukamayim, and you have to actually raise the guy that Trumas Hadeshin would raise the pulley, the Kiyor which is in the ground, in order to Kiddush Shadayim Raglayim for the next day, as that was already the beginning of the next day's Avodah. Now it's interesting, according to, alright, let's go on. Perishona Kol Mishu Hajl and Perak Shivas Shivas Yomim second Perak of Yuma. Perishona Kol Mishu writes the Litrom Mizbeach. Originally everybody wanted to do Trumas Hadeshin. Torah, do it. Yisman Shem Ruth, there are a lot of guys. Rotim Bolim Mekevsid, run up the ramp. L'chol Kodim is Chaver B'Toch Harba. Amos everybody got to 4 Amos at the top Soicha. You got it first. Yimay Yushnayim Shavin. If there was a photo finish, Hamudah Ma'alem Atzpiyah, the guy in charge would say, stick out your fingers. Umay Motzim, what do they put out? Achas Ushtayim, 1 or 2 fingers, Vei Motzim, Agodah B'Mikdash, and no thumbs. Ma'aser Shiyushnayim Rotim Shavin. Rotim Bolim Mekevsid, once they were neck and neck. The Dachach Ephah Mem is Chaver, one that pushed his friend off, Yishbaravo, and his leg broke. Shiro Basin Shem Bolim, they succumbed when basically they were putting themselves in danger. Yitzkinish Lo Yutermis is Vechel, a pious, they decided only a lottery. Arab passes on Yishon, therefore lotteries, Vizel, pious, usually this is the first one. Raimana Bay, the Lomalo Kabu pious, the Trumas Hadeshin. Why didn't they make a pious for the Trumas Hadeshin originally? So, Yisach Hamei, and I'm bringing a proof that they should have made a before the guy fell off the ramp, they should have made a lottery. Shchita ksher bizarre, shchita is kosher for the foreigner, non-Kohen. Fatima is a pious, nevertheless you make a pious. Trumas Hadeshin asur, but that's forbidden for a tzar. Fatima ain't a pious, and you didn't make a lottery for it. Because Raimana v'Amar, so Raimana came back and he said, Shchita ain't ksher ela b'yom. No, shchita you make a pious because a lot of people come for the shchita. Because shchita is only kosher during the day. So people are up, you have to make a lottery. Have a Trumas Hadeshin before the guy pushed the other guy off the ramp, Ksher Kol Laila, it's all night. In Moimrat Yofti, so a person has to come for a lottery. He doesn't know exactly what time the lottery is either. So he'll lose a lot of sleep. Afu Omer, the heck with it, right? I didn't say that in your Gemara. Afu in a Mashkin Savi, he doesn't get up for a Savi, right? My Chametz Mei Markain. Where did you see that it says that Trumas Session could take place any time during the night? It says, Kol Laila V'Herim. Entire night, and you can pick up the Kam Trumas Session, Kosher Kol Laila, and the Trumas Session is kosher all night. Okay? V'Zor Shetar Rabbi Yochanan Chayev. If Zor is the Trumas Session, the Rabbi Yochanan says he's Chayev, he transgression, and look at Shemar Potter, he's exempt. Time of my time of Shimon Lakish, avodas matana. In order the avodah for which you're chayav for having done, if you're not coming, is avodah of giving to the mizbeach. You're to Barom as opposed to this which is taking away from mizbeach. My time Rabbi Yochanan, what's the Rabbi Yochanan? It says l'chol dvarim is to wash this apostle. So he says here l'chol dvarim mizbeach for all matters of mizbeach. So what does it mean for all matters of mizbeach? That means that if a Zohar does Trumas Hadeshen, to connect with the Mizbeach, it's possible. Okay? Shem Rav said, Avodah, therefore Avodah Shakoin Mischayev Alei Mivachuta Shakoin is required. I'm sorry, Shakoin Mischayev Alei Mivachuta Shakoin does them out of the base of Mitush Yischayev. Zohar Mischayev Alei Mivnim, if Zohar does them on the inside Yischayev. Right? Conversely. What are they? So Aktorah, putting the limbs on the Mizbeach, Zrika, doing Zrika Saddam, and libating wine, water behind and Zrika and libating wine as well. So it says more, V'atzker Shimon Lakish. It's called Shimon Lakish because obviously he doesn't include Trumas Hadeshen. Trumas Hadeshen is included like Rabbi Yochanan. Leimar Filu Trumas Hadeshen, no, Azor does Trumas Hadeshen also chai. That's Rabbi Yochanan, that's going like Rabbi Yochanan. Chata Geicholit. What if you stirred the coast? You flew to Rabbi Yochanan and Shimon Lakish, also say Machlos. Rabbi Yochanan has to do the Mizbeach, or Zohar does it, it's chai. For Shimon Lakish, it's not about his matan, you're not putting anything on the Mizbeach, the Zohar is part of it. Hotzi Shara Deshen. What if you took out the rest of the Deshen, other than Trumas Deshen? So that's Tiflu to Rabbi Yochanan and Shimon Lakish. It's also Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Shimon Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan has to do the Mizbeach, or Shimon Lakish, it's not about his matan, it's not giving. Asi commandamar bale acher commandamar achem pchusimem. There's all going assumption that what we learned that of the Koi Mamish this morning, that Yomi the Bavli, that when you take out the Trumas Deshen, you wear Godim Acherim. Those Acherim mean lesser garments, but they're garments of Kuna. So that means that you need to have a Koi for Trumas Deshen. Like that, you can have a Machlokas. Around Commandamar Acherim, but according to the opinion which holds V'lavash Godim Acherim comes Murabus Balmum to tell you even a Balmum is kosher to take the Trumas Hadeshen out. Who Zar, who Balmum. That's the case. You know the Trumas Zar Balmum. Just like a Balmum can do it, a Zar can also do it. So Zar be part according to that. And we will stop here for this evening.